And good morning, everybody. And it is Fabulous Friday featuring Richard Cole. Now, I met Richard in an elevator. Now, in England, I would be saying I met Richard in a lift. However, somehow elevator sounds a little bit better on this one. And it was at Heartlands, wasn't it? And we got on straight away. But I love that. I met Richard in an elevator. It sounds like the beginning of a film or something. Anyway, Richard, take it away. Tell us about you. You were such a great guy. We got on straight away and you're awesome. Yeah, take it away.
That was such a funny moment for me. I always live my life for these funny, amazing moments. And when we're waiting for the elevator and it comes and you said, "Are you waiting for the elevator?" And I said, "No, I'm waiting for the lift." And it was kind of a funny thing because the British people call it the lift, and regular people call it the elevator. I guess I don't know how it's because I'm Canadian, right? And we were in St. Louis, so it's the metric way. That's it. It's the metrics way of saying an elevator. We'll call it a lift.
I know. People do that to me all the time, and I get really confused. Then I think, where am I again?
Yeah, very good. But it was a fantastic meeting you, and right out of the gate you have that you have that smile and that energy that just flows, and it's infectious, and it's a positive energy and an infectious smile and laugh that just makes any day bright. I do remember in the mornings at that conference, I think you were out doing your run or your jog or skipping or some kind of, you had some like giant tow rope that you had with you.
Yeah, it's my rope flow. Yeah.
Right. That you tow like transport trucks with or something. And you'd come in and it's just, even though you've just done your exercises and your beat and you're worn out, you'd say, "Hey, Richard." And it was just an instant smile. So it's that's a really awesome quality about you. Here I am on your show talking about how wonderful you are.
No,
That's
I want to tell you about you. Go on. You make me blush. Now, Richard, how did you get into hypnosis?
You know what, Claudia? I was 12 years old, and my dad took me to the college where he worked in Aylmer, Ontario, Canada. And I got to see two people who would influence the rest of my life. The opening act was what we'd call a mentalist, like a real mentalist. This is someone who uses memorization techniques. His name was Backwards Bob, and they called him that because he could speak backwards. And they had these things. You're far too young to remember, but back in the olden times they used to have reel to reel tapes. And so I saw them in a museum one time, she says. And he would speak in a sentence into this reel to reel player, and then they would play it backwards, and it would be what we would normally say in regular speak. I thought that was the most fantastic thing. He had amazing memorization skills, and he could write on the blackboard backwards and forwards and upside down and mirrored.
Wow.
Yeah, like almost all at the same time. It was fascinating to me to see. And so he was the opening act. The headline entertainer was a stage hypnotist by the name of Mike Mandel, who's quite famous here in Canada, and some other hypnotists may know of him. And so when I was 12 years old, I saw Mike do these amazing skits where he would have people go on trips, and it was just amazing. And as a 12-year-old boy at that time, I thought, I want that power. So I went on. My sister had done a independent study for high school on magic. So I was learning, card tricks and illusions and that sort of stuff. And so I studied magic and always been performing. When I went to high school, I was doing musical theater. I took tap jazz and some ballet lessons. I know, it's like, that's why I look so good, I guess. And then I went to university And at university, I studied some psychology. And while I was doing that, I was also doing stand-up comedy with Yuck Yucks. And as I finished up my college, my friend Big Kevin, we call him Big Kevin because he's tall, and he said, "Hey, do you want to go see this magic show and a hypnotist up in Peterborough?" And I said, "Sure, let's go." So we went there, and the hypnotist was Mike Mandel. The
Right.
person that I had saw when I was 12 years old, 20 years later or some years later, was performing. And I said, "Okay, God, I see what you want me to do. You want me to become a comedy hypnotist." And so that's how I became a stage hypnotist.
I know. And how long have you been doing it?
This is my 28th year full time. I know I look like a teenage boy, but 28 years full time. I'm not a radio DJ. I don't sell insurance or real estate. I don't work at Airbnb. I am just full time. This is all I do is make people laugh and have a good time.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. I know I can see all your little funny things behind you. What have we got? What have we got? Share.
Well, yeah, sure. So right over here, this is my bass guitar. This is the bass guitar I call the Monster. I play in a part-time in a band with a friend of mine, Dr. Steve. I know that sounds cool, Dr. Steve.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Yeah, he's the guitar player, and it sounds like he rips on the guitar. He actually does rip on the guitar, but he's a doctor of chiropractic. So that's why I call him Dr. Steve. The drummer that we used to play with, his name is Danny, and he was Danny the drummer, and it was pretty cool. So we had a band that we jam. We used to jam quite a bit. Haven't for a while, but it was called the Rock Nest Monster.
Oh,
I know, the Rock Nest Monster, right? So we play, like classic rock songs and songs by like bands like Rush.
Nice.
And other bands like that. So it was a lot of fun. So that's my bass guitar. And then over here is my VIP pass to Weird Al Yankovic. Now you're probably not familiar with Weird Al Yankovic.
Definitely not familiar with Weird Al. You might
have
to enlighten me there.
He does he does cover versions of songs, and he makes them into comedy versions of popular songs. Like Madonna's Like a Virgin, he changed it to Like a Surgeon, cutting for the very first time. And so he does lots of fun songs, and I actually got to see him live and in person in the VIP section because a friend of mine, Jason Lynette, I'm not sure if you know Jason,
yes,
fabulous, wonderful guy, a super great guy.
Been on his podcast.
Yeah. He called me up and he said, "Hey, do you want to go see Weird Al Yankovic in Philly or Philadelphia?" And I was like, two things I love. I love Philadelphia and I love Jason Lynette. Weird Al Yankovic, not so much, but if a friend's offering to take me there, the least I can do is buy him a Philly cheesesteak. Okay. And so that's what we did, and that was fun. Then over on this side, this is my banana.
I want to go there. Okay.
I'm not sure what's so funny. It's just a giant stuffed banana. Okay. For many years in this industry, I was known as the guy with the big banana, and so I'm not sure why you're laughing, but we'll just keep rolling. And I totally know. And in my shows when I first started, I needed something to be remembered by, right? So that when the participants went away, they said, "Oh, hey, that was a great show with that hypnotist guy," especially when he had the jock of the high school. Those are like the sports people. When I would do high school shows, I would have the one of the captains of a sports team would fall in love with the giant banana and dance on stage with this giant banana.
Brilliant. How funny.
yearbook memories. And so that's where the banana came from, and it's a lot of fun. And the banana is wearing a toque, which is what we call that's a toque, which is a hat, like I don't even know what to call it. A toque. It's just always a toque, wool hat that goes over your ears and keeps you warm in the winter time.
I would just call it a woolly hat.
A woolly hat. I love that. That's great. A woolly hat. It's not like a fez. It's not a fez. No. It's or a cap. It's a woolly hat. It's nice. Yeah. That's cool. So that's my stuff.
Yeah, brilliant. So have you got any funny stories? I mean, I know you've got obviously loads of funny stories, but have you got any like, oh my gosh, this is like this is so embarrassing, or this was like, I don't know, just tell us something.
There is, I get asked that quite a bit. Like, what is your most memorable thing that has happened to you? And recently, I have a skit in my show that I do where people become the world's greatest speed artists, and they get up and they start painting and sculpting and creating art at a fast pace to music. And so it's wild and it's crazy and it's fun. I've been doing it for a couple of years now, and recently it was at a ladies' night, and they had all painted their paintings, and people that I see getting really into it, I go up and I ask them, I say, hey, can you tell me a little bit more about your painting and what you painted? And so the one lady that I called over, I said, hey, tell me about your painting. What do you call it? And she goes, you? And I said, did you paint a painting of me? And she says, yes. And so I was like, wow, most people, they do hills or they draw their cat or something, but this person painted a painting of me in their mind, obviously. And so I said, I remember it's a ladies' night, so I was kind of cheeky, and I said, so I noticed you exaggerated a certain part there, you emphasized it. The audience can't see it, but can you tell them which part you emphasized? And she goes, your eyes. My eyes. So I laughed, the audience laughed, I laughed. It's so much fun. That's why I love doing what I do, Claudia, because I don't know what they're gonna say or what's gonna happen. I kind of have a framework. Paint a picture. Tell me about what you painted, and we'll go from there. But and that's why hypnosis is so amazing to me, is because the mind is just an amazing thing that will come up with these images, and people will just spurt them out. They'll say what's on their mind that maybe they hadn't even thought of. It just comes right out, and they say it. It's just fascinating to me.
I know. Well, I was next to you. Do you remember we were in Heartlands, and I was sat next to you, and you said, and there was going to be a stage show, and you said, go on up. I said, no, I'm not. Anyway, because I know I'm so suggestible. And I can go, and I'm a somnambulist, and I can go down like that. So there I am in the audience. What happens? But I don't think I even did that. I said, no. Not doing it. I don't want to go up because I know what I'm like. And I went out anyway. It was just so crazy. And there I am cuddling Casey, snuggling her. And then I end up on stage. And at the end, I'm looking at you going, how did that happen?
It's and it was that was a lot of fun. There was Casey, you, Joe Kidd, and myself, and I remember you saying, oh no, all the chairs are filled, and I leaned over and said, well, that's okay, you don't have to go on stage to go into hypnosis.
Yes, you gave suggestion and I was going, I know what you're doing.
Yeah, I know what you're doing. Darn it, it worked anyway.
Yeah.
So, and you were great. You were like one of the stars of the show up there. I mean, it was Salish was putting on the show, and it was a lot of fun. That was a great conference too. I really liked that conference. And yeah, I'll tell you what, I haven't been to a lot of hypnotherapy conferences just because I'm a stage guy. But one of the things that I have, I have, I have matured in my business enough to learn is that I always should be learning something new and learning from others. And so going to the therapy style conference, the one we were at, the Heartland conference, also has a stage hypnotist track, but also the therapy track as well. I and I go there. I go there for a couple of reasons. I go there to meet my friends, and I also go there to meet new friends and to learn new techniques. And there was one talk that you did that I really enjoyed, and that was the talk on working with dementia um, patients, and more importantly, working with dementia patient caregivers.
Yeah.
Because they have a lot, and that I mean, my dad, he had Alzheimer's, and so he passed away from that. But I could see the people taking care of him, and and it was I mean, they were wonderful nurses. That's their job every day. But I can see how these mental illnesses affect families. And I'll be honest with you, because we are living, my thought and my feeling is, because we are living longer, these things are not going to go away. We're going to see more incidences of dementia and Alzheimer's, not because of something in the environment or something related, just simply because we're living longer and we're learning about these new brain diseases that we hadn't been able to examine prior to the amazing world we live in now.
Yeah, that's right. And it's really important for the caregiver to have tools and techniques to manage that. And how do we communicate with our loved ones living with a neurocognitive disorder? And you're right, there is age-related dementia. However, as I explained in my talk, anybody at any age can get a neurocognitive disorder, which is like quite a scary thought. So it's, well, what can we do to help people navigate this journey? And I really appreciated you coming along to watch that, Richard. And I know you gave me a really nice testimonial on it. So thank you.
Yeah, no, you're a great presenter, and it's because you care. And when you talk, you are emotional and caring and a sensitive person. And that's for someone like me, it's very similar. So that resonates with me. It truly does. And I love you for that. So that's cool.
Thank you, Richard. Yeah, thank you. Now, are you going to Hypnothoughts?
You know what? Not this year. Not this year. Being a full-time hypnotist, the summertime I do a lot of shows up in the resort region of Ontario called the Muskokas. And so it doesn't, my schedule doesn't allow me to quickly zip out to Hypnothoughts. However, I have been to Hypnothoughts 3 times, I think, and it's a fabulous conference. It's big. Scott Sandlin, who puts it on, wonderful guy. It's interesting, and you should, Claudia, when you get there, check this out. It's interesting that Scott will make a point to at least say hi to every single person.
Oh yeah,
every single person. And I even think he tries to remember their name. I think he's some kind of mental mind memory expert guru or something. If not, he's practicing.
There is a way you can do that to remember people's names, which is, and it's a pretty cool technique. Okay, Richard, you and I, we could talk forever. And,
Oh, yes.
however, we'll let these wonderful people have a wonderful day, and same with you. So for now, it's goodbye from me, Claudia Rickard, and it's goodbye from
that hypnotist guy, Richard Cole.
Wonderful. So take care, everybody, and I'll have you back on again, Richard. All right. So take care. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Oh,